For many, it was the peak of their career, their life. But returning home, being stuck in quarantine for many of Australia's greatest athletes, it was a sudden dose of reality.
It was pretty much from one extreme to the other. Probably the greatest week of my life as an athlete to literally being forced to do nothing was actually quite challenging.
Swimming sensation Ariane Titmus won the hearts of Australians by defeating US champion Katie Ledecky not once but twice in the pool. The 21-year-old won 2 gold, the 200 and 400 metre freestyle, along with a silver and bronze medal in Japan. But now home, there's an understanding that to fund herself and keep competing at an elite level, Ariane and other athletes have to turn gold, silver and bronze into cold hard cash.
It's hard as an Olympic athlete to make money. You don't get paid to go to the Olympics and you don't get paid to be a swimmer essentially. So the only real way we can earn money is through endorsements and partners.
Understanding that, the swimming champ is diving straight in. She's already working with Nike, Speedo, Harvey Norman and Bridgestone Australia, and she's just become an ambassador for the Lexus Melbourne Cup.
When my manager came to me with this opportunity, I thought it was something that I really had to grab a hold of and, be a part of. I don't think it's often you get this opportunity.
Ariane is one of 470 athletes just returned from Tokyo. Her performance means she will be, financially, more fortunate than others. Her success and image are easily identifiable by prospective sponsors. But for most trying to support themselves and their sport until the next Olympic campaign in 3 years' time, the struggle starts now. The International Olympic Committee Vice President John Coates says most athletes lean on the committee for financial support.
Unfortunately, at this stage, there's not a lot of the individual athletes across all the 33 Olympic sports who receive funding, who receive sponsorship. So they are dependent on the funding directed to them through the AOC, through the Australian Sports Commission and through their own sports and then philanthropy. But we're finding, and we have to raise something like $50 million over a 4-year period, the AOC, we're finding a lot more interest. And so there's still an amount we're going to have to bridge, but we've got 3 years and we're quietly confident we should be able to do it.
But one thing is for certain, endorsement deals can be game changers for an athlete's performance and state of mind. For a sponsor, typically, the right athlete is an individual. For the biggest deals, that individual should have a high profile in the biggest commercial markets, America and Europe. That's why golf's Tiger Woods, according to Forbes, could make $60 million a year without hitting a golf ball, and why Roger Federer makes a reported $86 million a year from endorsements. Those in team events often have to think outside the square, like rower Rosie Popper, who won gold in Tokyo as part of the women's four. Her crew is teaming up with the men's four, calling themselves the Awesome Foursomes, to boost their profiles, their bankability.
I guess it's just understanding what we want to represent and who we want to represent and going from there.
But there's other backing. The success of Australia's rowers followed a massive financial commitment by Australia's wealthiest person, Gina Rinehart. That backing meant Rosie and her team could focus on training and performance, knowing the bills would be paid.
And Mrs. Gina Rinehart is now a major patron of Rowing Australia, and she helped, I guess, create the National Training Centre for the women and the men as well. They had an already established facility there, but I think just helping out and letting it be a full-time job for us.
We've had Gina Rinehart for some time. Our sailors, there's a foundation that looks after them. Harry Triggerboff stepped in the other day. So that is happening, and that's a pleasing trend. Philanthropy in this country for sport isn't as developed as in America, and sport doesn't have charitable status, so per se you can't offer deductibility.
The bottom line is a company, a sponsor, has to be convinced that by endorsing an Olympian, ultimately they'll sell more product. Conversely, it's important for an athlete to attach themselves to brands that won't hurt their image. For that could stop future deals from happening with other sponsors. But there's something else for athletes. Form and fitness mean the window of opportunity to capitalise on these commercial deals can be very small indeed. But the chase for sponsors is not just on for the athletes. The head of the Australian Olympic Committee is highly conscious there's 11 years to go until the Brisbane Games, and it needs sponsors too.
The games of the 35th Olympiad are awarded to Brisbane, Australia.
Need from Australian sponsorship for both the Olympic and the Paralympic Games about $1.7 billion. The IOC is putting into these Brisbane Games a figure of about 1.7 billion US, 2.5 Australian. We should get about $1 billion in ticketing, but we need around about 1.7. That sounds a lot, but we've also got in a budget of 4.9 billion. We've got 800 million in contingency. We've got 16% contingency, but for Tokyo, a bigger city, bigger financially, a stronger country, they sold 27 sponsorships over a 4-year period at 100 million US each. So we're going to be selling the rights to the Australian Olympic team or the Paralympic team or both. We'll be selling them for a 6-year period. I'd expect the figure for the top tier sponsors will be about 150 million.